Hey friends, in today's video, we're going to take our simple flower doodles and turn them into stunning full-page floral patterns. Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Shayda Campbell, and on this channel we make art and it's fun, not scary. So today I'm inviting you back into my 2024 bullet journal, and we're going to work on some fun pattern floral illustrations. So if you follow my bullet journaling content, every year I do a theme for my journal, and this year the theme is pattern play, which might sound a little vague, but patterns are a great way to turn your very simple or maybe even sort of brand new illustrations into something really gorgeous and inviting and interesting. So what I'm trying to say is, if you're new to drawing and doodling, or you just don't have the confidence, you can take something very, very basic and make it really, really exciting, I think, with patterns. So also, this is not a bullet journaling video, so if you're not into journaling, no worries. We're just doing some floral doodles. Basically, that's what I'm trying to say. Have a look. See, this is my 2024 journal. My nameplate page is patterned. I did this kind of symmetrical thingy for the cover page. We've got resolutions underneath, which I haven't even filled in. This is always my final video of the year, the bullet journal setup for the year ahead. And then I go on Christmas holiday, and of course with like Sully, who's 2, and his cousins and I just haven't journaled at all. But I will take time to like fill all this out and put in my goals. So I was really into doing these kind of symmetrical doodles. And then this is a good example of taking something really, really simple, like a blue flower, and making something quite stunning. And here you've got more symmetry. I have to fill out my goals. I've got this movement tracker, which I haven't even, oh, I should be filling this out every day. Okay, I gotta get on it. I'm going to do it. It's like, what movement have you done? Making cocktails. Okay, and then for January, we did a really fun pattern. So anyway, if you wanna see the yearly setup, I'll link it below. If you want the January bullet journal setup, it is also there, and you can see I've started using my journal. I'm kind of like just getting back into work second week of January. So anyways, let me take some weeks here, and we'll skip ahead a little bit because I want space for my January, whatchamacallits, weekly spreads, weekly layouts. And I just want to have fun today and create some patterns together. My supplies, I'm going to be using some markers. I've got a bunch of Tombos here, which are really good for journaling because they don't bleed through. I do have some Copics, which are alcohol-based. They do bleed through the page, but they're gorgeous. And then I have some colored pencils in some really lovely colors. And so what we're going to do is layer the colored pencil on top of the mark. Let's just get into it so I don't bore you to death with my chit-chat. The flower that I want to draw for this first pattern is going to be the hellebore. And what I'm thinking, we need to think color palette. I think what I'll do is reach for something. You know what? I am going to use my Copics. I'm going to start with this baby blue, which is so gorgeous. And the hellebore has this really graphic big stamen, and then these quite round petals. It kind of reminds me of an anemone in that it's got this big funny stamen, kind of looks like the perfect idea of a flower. So picture that, 5 petals. But for this pattern, I don't want to just doodle like a flower of 5 petals. I want to get some movement here, some expression, and because it's my journal and I can do what I want. And I just want to have fun. So I'm just going to try my best to like not overthink it. And I want to show some, some depth. So I can always do a petal that's just like a line across the front. There's another line. There we go. Maybe we'll do another one. Because when you look at flowers in a garden, they're not all perfectly facing the viewer, opening up wide. Some are missing petals. Some are on an angle. Some are facing away. Let's do one that's facing the opposite direction. And instead of drawing each little petal, what I really want to do is just allow myself to have fun and just put some ink on this page. And this is just the perfect thing to do. Sit down with a cup of tea and just see what comes off the end of your marker. Because if you're like me, you might not have drawn a lot over the winter break and you just need to get back into it, get your hand warmed up without getting all discouraged and feeling like everything you make is bad. And this is a great exercise for that. Let's have one guy over here. So we're not sketching the flower one petal at a time. We are sketching the flower like this. Like, can we just go like a scribble and make it into a flower later? Yes, we can. Of course we can. I need something else for this pattern. I'm thinking leaves. What color leaves do we want to do? How about a darker blue? I do have this guy. Would that be kind of pretty? That sort of a periwinkle color. Yeah, I think that can work. Let's give ourselves some leaves. Same idea, just sketching them, not by drawing the shape, but by, creating the shape with brush strokes. This is what I talk about all the time with watercolor painting, but you can do the same thing with your markers, with any medium really, where you are just letting your hand kind of wander across the page and you create the shapes with your movements. I think it results in something that's really, really beautiful. Or at the very least, it's just fun to draw. And like I said, hopefully you're not going to feel discouraged and disheartened. And I know how that feels when you try to get back at it and you're like, cannot paint, don't remember how to draw. And you're like, okay, I only took 2 weeks off. Like, what happened to me? I think that's a very common feeling. Another thing we want is to have some negative space in here, so not everything has to be leaf or flower. And maybe we'll figure out like some smaller details to add later. Okay, here we go. You know what, we can always add more in later, so let's stop that for now. And I want to grab the colored pencils and start to add some beautiful details here. So, actually, strike that. I want to begin, actually. Sorry. Not sure how I did that. Okay, I want to start by just doing a bit of pink at the center of some of these guys. That works. Oh, missed one. There we go. Now what we can do is take some of these colored pencils and start adding some beautiful details. So now we can start to sketch those petals if you want to. And I say if you want to because you do not have to just draw an outline here. What you could do is just do shading, something like that. Clearly, I kind of want to do that outline, and I'm not mad at that. I think that looks good. It creates a real shape for the flower, gives our illustration some structure. And this guy is going to be facing away, so we'll put his petals in there, and then he can have like a little sepal. We'll add that in later. Yeah, these are pretty. So I hope you all had a wonderful winter break. I'm very happy to be back at work, although we did really enjoy we actually took 3 weeks and we took Sully out of daycare for 3 whole weeks. I think the difficult thing about having a toddler is just that they rely on their routine so heavily that anytime you try to do something that's like outside of the routine, that's when things kind of like snowball into chaos. So it can feel like anytime we do something nice, that's when everything goes horribly, horribly wrong. But we did have a really nice holiday, even though we had a lot of like, I can't get to sleep and really difficult night routines. We went from having like a 25-minute like go to sleep routine to like a 1 hour to 2 hour how to get to sleep routine. I'm sure some of you out there can relate. You take away the routine, and the new routine is scary. But anyway, Sully's back to daycare this week and we're getting back in the swing of things. We're getting back to our routine. And Chris and I were never people that thrived on like stability. We love change, as I've mentioned in other videos. So now we're learning to thrive on routine, actually. And ever since COVID, I have been more mindful of like how much I need routine, actually. Because when COVID hit and we lost those routines, that's when I realized how much I actually do love routine, how much I actually do count on it and can thrive on it. This is fun. I like this. There we go. Oh, I missed this guy over here, but let's give you a stamen anyway. That's pretty. I mean, truly, I'm just making scribbles, and I think my scribbles are quite pretty. This guy needs his sepal, so we'll just go like that and maybe have the stem come down. I think that's cool. There we go. Oh, I missed these guys over here for the petals. There. I feel like I'm just getting warmed up, like I'm just getting comfortable making these messy marks. So we are definitely going to have to do more. Let's just put some lines on the leaves. I'm purposely kind of drawing really hard and trying to make everything look really graphic. I don't want this to be overly delicate. Just want to get out all my feelings, all those January blah feelings. Wow. It has been snowing for 3 days straight here. I'm sure a lot of you are also dealing with snow. At least everybody, it feels like so many people on my Instagram are like, it's been snowing all week. So if you're feeling that January blues a little bit, the cleaning off your car constantly blues, this is a good one. Just let it all out, guys. Here we go. There. I like the way kind of like a scribbly line looks. That's kind of cool. Add something pretty to this pattern. I definitely think my journal this year is going to be a little bit of an art journal because I just love the pages in the Archer and Olive notebooks. They're great for practicing your marker illustrations. That's fun. I think that looks really pretty. I do think I need some more shading on these guys. Yeah, that could be pretty. Just doing big loose shapes. I don't know. This is one I might come back to in a few weeks and be like, what was that? But it's just nice to express and make something. It's just like my movement tracker. I made the movements really achievable, like strolling, stretching. But have I done those things? I have like went down to the basement to get laundry. Does that count? Climbing the stairs? It's just that time of year that's like, ugh. I don't usually feel that, but I think maybe the holiday left me like a little burnt out this year. I hate to say that. I think a lot of people can relate though, that you kind of go back to work and you're like, wait, shouldn't I be a little more rejuvenated? So I'm just feeling a bit like, ooh, and I love Christmas so much. And I think that's part of what gets in my way a little, is that I want to do it all. We did the baking and we made our nuts and bolts and I made candy and we did all this fun wrapping and I made this giant cardboard house for Sullivan. If you haven't seen it, it's on my Instagram at Shayda Campbell. And we, just wanted to take part in all the traditions because we had lots of family here and we hosted. So, God, yeah, I'm not rejuvenated at all, actually. Just kidding. Okay, let's do another one together because this is fun. And I feel personally like we're just getting started. So that was cool. Let's do another one. I kind of want to change it a bit though. I don't want to do the same sort of size. What I'm thinking is maybe just changing kind of the scale of this pattern would be a good idea. And we'll work on something. Sorry, that's a really creaky chair. We'll work on something that's a little bit smaller. So let's just flip over. See that you do get a bit of bleed through with the Copics. What I'll probably do is just put some cut paper on that, or maybe just glue the pages together. So for this one, let's do a 1-page pattern. And let's try, what's this color like? What do you look like? Yeah, that could be pretty. Okay, so maybe I will just glue those pages together so we can get some bleed through here. I want to do some marigolds. So I'm just gonna basically make circles like that. And this is one of those things that is so good for you, like just to sit and make shapes. There's no pressure. Doesn't have to look perfect. Doesn't have to look any sort of way. You're just making random shapes. You're basically making scribble circles. I know one thing that has helped me, because if you've been around here for a minute, you know that I've always hated drawing animals, and I've always been vocal about that too. Like, I'm not good at it. It scares me. It's intimidating. I don't like it, blah, 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 all those things. And then now that I sit and draw with Sully, who's 2, of course he wants me to draw animals. He doesn't want me to draw a million different flowers. He wants a cow. He wants a pig. And so, of course, I'm happy to draw them, and I don't care what they look like. And it has really freed me up to actually draw some really interesting animals. I've gotten some sort of shapes that I've gotten really comfortable with. And as I have always said on this channel, when you can't draw something, when you think you're not good at it, sometimes that's when you draw the most interesting version. And the world needs that. The world needs that interesting illustrative voice. And so it has really freed me up to look at my drawings in a new way and to just gain some confidence that I was lacking. And Chris is always like, when you draw an animal on the channel, you don't have to remind everybody every time how much you hate it. I'm like, yeah, I do. I do. Because I'm scared. Okay. There's our scribble marigolds. This is going to be pretty. And now what I want to do is take a pen, something like, these guys are really good for colored pens. And then I'm going to add something to this. Yeah, maybe just like a little berry, sort of. I always like drawing stuff like that. It's very whimsical. And once you get the shape down, it's It's not difficult. So we could add a few of those in here, do a U shape, add another U. There could be 4 or 5 berries. You know, you can always add another one like that. Do your little stem, add some leaves, maybe do some shading on the leaf. And now we're starting to, you can see the pattern emerging, I'm sure. U shape, one more. However you want to do that is fine. There we go. I think that looks really, really pretty. And the nice thing here is that this is the type of illustration that you can just kind of lose yourself in. And it's really relaxing and really meditative to create. The nice thing about pattern play like this too is you are the artist, you are the one making the decisions. So not all of these little guys need to be the exact same. For example, you could say like over here, I've got a little bit more room. So on this one, this guy will have 2 leaves on this side, you know, so they don't need to all be the exact same. Or you can say to yourself, I am going to create them all exactly the same, and that's just going to make this easier for me or whatever. So just remember, you're the artist, you make the rules. I don't, you do. The art supplies don't make the rules, it's your work. And then after a while, you can even say to yourself, you know what, I actually think this is going to need a second shape. Or, well, we have 2 shapes, so that's not right. You could say I need a 3rd shape in this case and add something else to the pattern. So at the risk of just boring you to death with drawing a bazillion of these guys, let's talk about what else we want to do for this pattern. So where my head is going is I want to add some detail on the marigolds, but do I want to add the detail in blue, or would I like to work, you know, like with brown or maybe just like a slightly darker marker? I don't know, maybe. These are just silly little decisions that really aren't that big of a deal, but I mean, that's the fun of art, is that it's all problem solving and decision making. I'm gonna go with blue. I'm just gonna stick with blue. Why not? I just did a little short video, and you can see it in my YouTube shorts or on Instagram, where I had this like unfinishable painting. I don't know if you guys ever get that. I'm sure some of you have been there, where you have a piece in your studio that you just feel like you cannot finish it. You sit down and you're like, okay, today I'm just going to complete this guy. And it's just like you make it worse. You go backwards instead of forwards. And I had this still life of pears sitting on a table. You're sort of looking at it from above. It's just painted from a Pinterest photograph. And I was doing it in acrylic. It was supposed to be like a simple, fun piece, just relaxing. And it just went off the rails and it never looked right. And I never was happy with it. And it was one of those unfinishable pieces where you sit down for 2 hours and it actually looks worse than when you started. You're like, what? How did I manage that? So I challenged myself. I gave myself 1 hour to finish it, to just be done with it. And I actually was able to complete it. I mean, the challenge was like, I have to be done in an hour. So wherever I'm at, it's going in the drawer, it's done. And I was actually so happy with it. The funny thing about paintings is I've started a little business. I'm like sidetracked to my sidetrack, but whatever, we're just chatting. I've started a little business buying and selling vintage art. I want to use my artist's eye to like find the best old pieces. So many of us have prints and posters in our home. Great, that's wonderful, but we can have real art on our walls. There's all these great paintings out there, and I've been shopping estate sales and auctions and buying up paintings, and I'm selling them. You can follow me on Instagram at Magpie Shayda, and I'll put that up on the screen and I'll link it in the description. But through starting this business, I've started collecting all these paintings, which I'm reselling. And my personal preference is for the really primitive stuff, the stuff that's a little wrong, where the artists just use really basic shapes and forms. And you can kind of see the brush strokes and maybe things are a little off, not quite perfect. That's what I'm drawn to. That's what I love in a piece. So it was like I was trying with this hour-long exercise, was trying to give myself permission to go there, to be a little more primitive, to get a little bit more messy. And I think I was quite happy when I was finished with this pear piece. And it just made me think, like, I want to bring that energy to all aspects of my work in 2024. That permission to get a little messy, to make things a little weird, a little wrong. That guy's a little weird and a little wrong. Do we like this or do we like this? You know, why don't we do a few of both? I like kind of giving them a border like that. Yeah, I definitely like the outline. But I think having some with the layers and layers of petals is really good too. Very perfectly imperfect. I mean, part of the problem with this is that when I'm filming, my preferred way to draw is like this. Just like that. And I can't really do that on camera. So, you know, things get a little bit messier than I expect because I'm not this close to the work, and it's fine. It's always totally fine. So here's to you making a bit of a mess, trying new things, and hopefully, probably making something really amazing in the process. Let's give ourselves permission this year to make things that are a little bit wrong, a little bit weird. I like where this pattern is going, and it's a little messy, you know, and that is totally fine. If you are interested in the bullet journal setup video for this year, if you want to learn how to bullet journal and see how I did all of those initial setups for the year, I will link that in the video description. I have one for the last 4 years, I think. So all of those videos are good reference material since the spreads, you know, are good from year to year. I'll also post my January bullet journal setup, and I encourage you to come along with me this year, do some fun pattern play, and so kind of get organized and inspired. For me, bullet journaling is a way to future plan and just, you know, have all my to-do lists basically in one spot. I tried using digital to-do lists like Google Notes, which I do use for groceries and stuff, but for me, there's just nothing beats that analog list. So yeah, bullet journaling videos. If you're interested in purchasing some of my unique antique items and vintage art, you can follow me. I'll post my website and my Instagram, Magpie Shayda, and I'm going to be doing hopefully monthly drops on Instagram where I share and sell all of these vintage goods. And you can also head over to Instagram if you would like to view the pear painting, the doomed pear painting that wasn't so doomed in the end, my unfinishable beast. I shared that on Instagram, but also in YouTube Shorts, so check that out. Or if you want to see Sully's cardboard house, that is on Instagram too, and in YouTube Shorts. I think there's a YouTube short about that, yeah. And if you're feeling a bit of those January blahs like me and you're not quite rejuvenated from your holiday, I'm sending you a big hug. We're gonna get through it. It's been snowing for 3 days straight here, and it's not just snowing, no. It's like raining, snowing, so you can't even really go out and enjoy it and build the snowman because it's just like yuck. It's so nasty. So if you're dealing with the January crap weather, I'm sending you a hug and some snow pants. All right, let's finish this guy up. And that's going to be it for me today. I will be back very shortly in a day or two with a video, a watercolor tutorial all about how to create a sense of depth in your paintings, and basically just how to paint flowers on an angle, because that is something that we want to do. We don't always want all of our watercolor flowers to look like they're just being viewed head on. So it creates more movement, it creates a more dynamic floral illustration or painting. And so that is what we're gonna be talking about on YouTube this Saturday. So be sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything, and head over to my Patreon as well. If you're a fan of this channel and you want to support this content, the way to do that is on Patreon. I'm trying my best right now to put out potentially 3 videos every week, all free here on YouTube. And if you know, that content is meaningful to you and has been helpful to you, a great way to say thanks is by going to Patreon, and you can sign up for the monthly subscription, which is only $3, $33 for an entire year, but you can just pay per month, $3, you know, will come out of your account. It's very simple, very inexpensive. I've tried to keep it, you know, purposely very inexpensive. But you can also just purchase a worksheet. So this Saturday, there's going to be a really good watercolor worksheet to go along with the video. And you can just buy the worksheets as single items now, which I'm really excited about. Just makes everything more accessible. And I know for some of us, we need to have that worksheet there sitting in front of us while watching the video. Anyway, guys, I think that's it. What do we need? We need more petals on this guy up here. Thanks for hanging out today. This is getting real messy, but I kind of like the messiest ones the best. This has been really fun. I have to add a few more flowers and little vines, or whatever you call these leaves, in here, but the pattern is nearly complete and you can see how it's come together. And as I was saying when we began this video, it makes your doodles, some really, really simple stuff, into something really beautiful and interesting. And especially if you are kind of doing a sketchbook challenge or a journal this year, it's a great way to fill those pages while also just like losing yourself in the process of creating. So go follow me on Instagram. I'm gonna link everything I talked about, and I'll be back in a day or two to hang out and do some more painting. See ya.